First of all, a tough night. You turn the ball over. It's difficult to win a football game when you turn it over. I think it was turnovers were 4-1, so -3 in the turnover margin, plus with the block kick, so things become difficult. Can't turn the ball over on a punt, on the 5-yard line. You know, that just sort of intensifies things even more so for us. But the way the game spun, I think that a couple things. One, early in the first quarter, we get a shutdown. We get a holding call on PI, I guess, or holding. You know, they get a first down. They're able to go down the field, I believe, and score a touchdown. You know, when we have an opportunity to get off the field. That's their points for the first quarter. You know, things sort of roll, you know, as you go through it. I'm looking at it, and, you know, just could never get on track. It seemed this whole second half we'd get bad field position, and you know, we punted back to them. We needed to punt much better than we did. I think that's the first time we punted like that. I'm sure the weather had something to do with it. You know, the rookies' balls weren't coming off his hand. It was, you know, there's no tight spiral to them. I'm sure, again, the weather probably had some effect on that. But we never could really get anything going on the offensive side of the ball. I will credit our football team not quitting, and that goes with everybody, you know, in the program. But we need to do better. We need to do better, have to do better, so we'll recollect ourselves. We've got some injured guys that went down in the game. You know, we lost probably 1, 2, 3 receivers, and, you know, one didn't play coming into the game, and we lost 2 more during the game. So it was a little tough in that aspect, but we kept playing. But I'll take some questions, go from there.
Mark, the special teams problems averaged 31 yards a punt. Had the field goal blocked and penetration up the middle again, and then the botched return at the 6-yard line. What does that tell you?
Tells you they didn't play well enough to win on special teams, and you know, they can hurt you extremely. You know, Jake's I don't think he's ever punted like that in his career, and he's been punting for quite some time. So I'm not sure what was happening, but you know, he wasn't in the ball connecting. As far as the kickoff block, the right tackle needed to be firm and punch, and they penetrated in that area. The field, the punt return, I think he could have let that one go, and it would have bounced in the end zone for whatever reason. He backed up on the ball. He should be always at the 10, and he fumbled it. Its conditions weren't great, you know, but he fumbled it. And you know, nobody feels worse than he does. But you got to continue to believe in guys who also have done things for you in the past too. So, but you can't win a football game. Exactly right. You cannot win a football game playing like that on special teams.
Mark, you were up to 8 quarters without having scored a point. You had a week off talking about resetting and refocusing.
Yeah.
Yet offensively, we continue to see the same sort of problems. Do you feel like this is simply an execution thing, or is
football's a tough game. Football's a highly complicated yet basic game. I would say highly complicated. You can complicate it all you want, and then it can be as basic as a guy catching the ball, or protecting, or throwing the ball. And from my perspective, we need to execute better. There are things that we can do from a call situation, but we've got the same, I mean, a lot of the same plays are the same plays that other people run as well. Timing and who to go to and those type of things. But, you know, we'll look at everything, we'll address everything. But on the flip side of things too, you know, I think we also have to understand we played 3 teams that probably are 3 of the better teams defensively in the country. When you look at them statistically and what they've been able to do, you know, they've given up 8 touchdowns in 7 games. So they're tough to score on. They've got good players, and they execute, and they play good field position. Their punter did an outstanding job getting us back a number of times, punting the football. So they found a way to do those things. But you know, everything gets looked at. Nobody's more disappointed in production than the offensive coaches or the offensive players, and we're just going to keep recollecting ourselves and move forward. You know, and we're 4 games. We're 4-4, as tough as it is to say that, because I know everybody wants us to be, you know, 8-0 right now. But we're 4-4. We would play 4 very good football teams, and you see, and I think that we should be a very good football team again too. But right now, we're not playing well enough to be that very good football team. So we need to recollect ourselves and get ready for Illinois. And we have another week off, so this is unusual that we play basically one game in 3 weeks, or almost 4 weeks. But we'll use that to our advantage at this point in time and get ourselves ready. And as I said to our football team in there, you know, football is a game of toughness. It is a game of toughness. So you got to block, tackle, and do all that kind of stuff and execute. And but you also have to be able to withstand things in terms of things mentally and emotionally. And sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose, and sometimes you're going to be on the short end of the stick. And I would say we were on the short end of the stick today.
Mark, you mentioned the defensive holding on their second touchdown that extended that drive. There was an offsides on their first touchdown on a third down. I'm just curious for your frustration level maybe with those self-inflicted type penalties.
Well, very much so. You know, we jumped off sides, I think. They go, you know, I can't, you know, it was a long football game, so I can't really remember everything. There's a lot going on. But the holding call, I think holding is one of the most inconsistent things that I see across the country. Now, if you looked at my expressions, I don't think I agree with that one. The offsides is on us. Jumped off. They drew us off. You know, we jumped off. You know, the 4th and 1. You know, the 4th and 1 that they went for, and we didn't stop them. You know, midfield they went up and down the score, and again on a shallow crosser, he builds with depth. Quarterback did a nice job. I thought their quarterback did a great job extending plays. As the play progressed, you know, he got outside the pocket, or he stepped up in the pocket. He stepped up in the pockets, moved laterally, and they took the shallow crosser vertical, and they drained us out on the other side. So, you know, there was nobody there, and he converted on it.
Mark, 2 personnel questions for usage. First of all, Julian Barnett didn't play much at all in the first half, but then he did play in the second half. Kind of the reasoning behind that. And secondly, you had Theo Day in there. You put him in, moves the ball to midfield. You put Brian back in. Why?
First of all, the question is, the answer to the first question is C.J. Hayes didn't play. Okay, because he had an injury, so he couldn't play. So we had to move Darryl Stewart out to the outside, and Darryl and Cody are the 2 number 1 guys. And so we played Darryl outside, and Julian's not capable of playing on the inside slot. So, you know, Luis played on the inside slot till he went down, and Sowers played on the inside slot, and that's when Julian started playing. Darryl went down as well. So we felt like you had, you know, 2 experienced guys out there, and that was the extent of that. As far as the drive with Theo, I didn't think he was performing very well. You know, you got to be able, you know, we went 3 plays and got an out. You got to be able to at least execute and operate. You got to have operation. I felt like putting him in the game would give him his first chance to really play any football for us on the field. And so we were trying to give him an opportunity to show what he could do a little bit, maybe spark us a little bit, but also give him a taste of all this. And, you know, it's his first time in there, and I'm sure he'll do better, but I didn't feel like, you know, that he was going to allow us to. He didn't give us the best chance to score. And I really felt it was the way the game was going with 12 minutes to go, it's 28-7. I mean, you know, if we score a touchdown and get within 2 touchdowns and then give 1 more, you just never know. You know, we weren't executing very effectively. Very good.
Mark, as you talked about earlier, you went from 4-1 to 4-4. What's the message going into the bye week that you give your team and your staff to stop the bleeding and keep this thing from going south?
Well, you got to play better. You can't beat yourself. You got to execute. And there are certain things, you know, when you play a good football team that you cannot do. I would say in this particular game, you can't do any of these things and beat anybody. You know, in terms of, you know, you got to have a good punting game. You can't get kicks blocked. You got to receive, as Jack said over here, you got all those points. You got to not turn it over on the punt return. And then you've got to effectively be able to stay ahead of the chains a little bit in terms of getting situations where you can win on 3rd down, not put yourself in negative situations too often. But I think as much as anything, recollect yourself, stay positive with what we're doing. And as difficult as everybody wants to say out there, you know, you can't abandon ship right now. You can't do that. You know, that does not work. I know that. So we have to remain positive. You have to get ourselves healed up. Got a lot of guys banged up, nicked up, whatever. Guys that haven't played. So you got to try to get those guys back, and then you got to stay positive. And we are 4-4, and that's the beauty of it, I guess. If there is any beauty there, the beauty is that we're not 2 and 7, we're 4 and 4. And so, we gotta take that and try to build on those things and get ourselves ready for Illinois. And the only way I know how to do that is, like I said before, stay tough-minded, stay positive, don't get negative on people and blame people and say it's your fault or it's your fault. Stay positive and build into people and keep grinding. That's the way only way I've known how to do it, and that's what we'll continue to do.
We have 2 more, Graham and Matt.
Mark, going back to the quarterback situation, you're talking about still trying to win the game. So when you went to Rocky at that point, you're doing that as this is the best chance to score, and then if that's the case, do you know what you're going to do moving forward at that position?
I felt like, just like anybody in any major league baseball team, that sometimes maybe you need to bring in another guy to see if he's got what's he got tonight. And I think the fair thing to do at that point in time was to find out what's he got tonight. Can he move us a little bit? Can he throw the ball in the wet? And those type of things. And then when that didn't work, and I felt like the next step would be to come back and give Theo a shot, because I think that game experience is as important as anything. And he had not had any game experience, and I felt like game experience would at least give him an opportunity to say, okay, I've been in a game, I've been in a situation where there's some chips on the table, and let's see what he can do. Went back to the other guy because I felt like I'm trying to score a touchdown. So we went back with the work at the end because I felt like he gave us the best shot. So, we're going to keep trying to go to different people and give them opportunities, but they got to make good on those opportunities too. But I don't think that putting Rocky in there was a white flag in terms of our experiences with the work. I think he still gives us the best chance to win football games. I truly do. And that's the bottom line.
Mark, I know JD Duplain played his 5th game tonight. Some Richards gone. We see Brandon Wright, Trey Mosley. Are you in a position now where you start playing some of these younger guys, or are you still balancing that?
We're trying to balance a little bit, but it's not going to take away from what's it going to take to win a football game. I think Trey Mosley went out there and caught the ball well and spit in traffic, made some difficult catches, and I don't think he dropped one. And they were close. There were some 50-50 catches there, so it's good to see. And I'm sure there's other things that'll be good to see if that Brandon Wright poured it up in there a little bit. He's gaining experience. He's got a lot of talent. You need to probably use him a little bit more, but situations sort of, it became a little bit more of a passing game as things continued on in the game, even with the weather being as it was. Penn State's tough to run on.
All right, thank you.
Good. Thank you.